Welcome to the Ready to Bid podcast. I'm Kyle Swicegood with my co-host that is, Zach Johnson, where we talk about auctions, real estate and personal property, and interesting topics. Zach, what's our topic today?
Well, today we're going over signs that an auction might be the best way to sell your property. Before we get started on that, just want to remind folks the website is cranking right now, ready2bid.com. Real estate auctions, personal property auctions, government assets, the big equipment auction that we have every month, which we are accepting consignments for. It's wide open. Go check it out. But today, this is more of a reach out to potential sellers. If they're asking themselves, what's the deal with this auction thing? Why they may want to consider what we do. I don't want to say predominantly a real estate auction company, but that's the feather in our cap. That's what we're known for. And this is going to be specific to those real estate auctions. Number one on the list here, Kyle, you need a defined timeline. Tell us about that time-defined solution.
A conventional real estate broker typically asks for 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
We try to get the job done in 30 days. What's the difference? The difference is marketing. We do very aggressive marketing. We have an account with Meta that would scare most people,
Mm-hmm.
and Google as well. And we're not only members of the Winston-Salem Regional Association of Realtors, MLS, we are members of the Charlotte Canopy MLS and New York State MLS. So the difference, I would say, is marketing, and we're going to talk about contracts, which there's a big difference in the contracts as well.
Yep, absolutely. And then the second bullet point I have here is if your property is unique or hard to price, an auction may be the best way. You think about a typical appraiser. They're looking at similar properties that have sold in the recent past. Some properties are hard to find comps for, whether it's a 700-acre farm or whether it's a custom home kind of in a subdivision that has a lot of spec type homes. Whenever you're trying to put a value on that home, traditionally it can be difficult. What the market is willing to pay today. So you're not looking at comps a year ago. You're looking at today, and you're looking at that specific asset. So it's not a house that's similar, a house that had similar acreage. You're talking about that exact home. So I would argue that if you're looking for market value, a auction properly done would give you a better indication of value than an appraisal.
And most of our real estate auctions end up having 20, 30, we've had as many as 50 registered bidders to bid against
Mm-hmm.
each other. And you know what our motto is: when bidders compete,
sellers win.
That's exactly right.
Yep. And so again, if you want that competitive bidding, there's no better way to do it than an auction, but more specifically an online auction. People can participate from anywhere in the world in real time.
And it negates long negotiations. Our contract does not prevent anyone from doing what conventional real estate brokers refer to as due diligence,
Mm-hmm.
Inspections, etc. We welcome bidders to be informed, but when they place their bid, they're bidding on the property as is where it is, and they're bidding with a contract that is a level contract that every single bidder will be negotiating in the same format.
Yep. Another great sign that an auction may be the best way to sell your property is if, some people traditionally think of as if it's part of an estate or a settlement. If the property has to be sold for some circumstance like that, whether it's a court ordered sale or part of an estate, the estate planning process, or the administration of the estate, the auction often is the key. It does offer that time-defined solution, and it does provide a fair and an impartial way. Let's say we had a situation where two family members wanted to buy grandma's house. The family didn't know what to do because they wanted to treat both of them fairly. We actually conducted a closed to the public, traditional auction just for those two family members. Because again, in the auction method, it's fair for both parties and it's fair for the seller as well. Next up on the list here, I have you don't want the property sitting on the market, which we've all seen that before, Kyle. You mentioned a 6-month listing agreement. Houses may set on the market for 6 months, maybe a year, maybe longer. Again, it goes back to that time-defined solution. If you want a solution on your timeline, not at the whim of interest rates in the market and what's going to happen, the auction method may be best for you.
I'm going to throw one thing in there regarding the marketing of the property. We hire measuring companies to provide a schematic of the house because an informed bidder is a better bidder, and we hire professional photography.
And when you mentioned that marketing side of things, we don't just put it on the MLS. Not bashing traditional real estate brokers, but typically a sign goes in the yard, pictures go on the internet, and they just cross their fingers and hope that a buyer comes along. We are more of a guerrilla marketing, mindset where we're going to blast anywhere and everywhere that'll listen, whether it's social media, whether it's Google, whether it's
other agents. We pay other agents to sell our properties.
Absolutely. Just like a normal, it's listed on the let me get that out. It's listed on the MLS just like any other property would be, but it's listed as an auction. And so we're still populating this Zillow and Realtor.com, all the syndicated websites, but then we go above and beyond that. Because again, the auction method of selling is really the auction method of marketing. The process takes care of itself, the actual nuts and bolts of bidding. Our job is to get as many butts in those seats, so to speak, even if they're digital seats, as possible. And if we do that, the auction process will always play out.
And each bidder is playing with the same rules, the same contract. In a conventional world, there may be one contingent upon VA financing, one contingent upon cash, which is not a contingency, contingent upon conventional financing, contingent upon the old barn in the back being taken down. We have one contract that is going to be used for every single bidder. It's transparent. You know up front what you're competing against.
Yep. And as far as transparent goes, you know that if you want to bid on the property, you'll have the opportunity. What did we see back post-COVID when the market was going crazy? There were multiple offers coming in. Some shady deals happened behind closed doors. Offers were submitted, and then next thing you know, you were outbid by someone else. Brokers were almost playing a pseudo auctioneer. They were the gatekeeper.
Desktop auctions, even though the word auction is illegal. But yes.
Yeah, what we do is public knowledge. You can go, even if you're not registered for one of our auctions, you can go online. You can see every bid that was placed. It's time stamped. There's a bidder number, and that lives on in perpetuity. If you want to look at an auction that happened in, Kill Devil Hills 6 years ago, go to the website. You can still click on it. You can still view all the bids. We are an open book. The auction method is fair for both the sellers, because they know that as long as we did our job, they got every dime they could for the property. And it's fair for the buyers because they know if they want the property bad enough, all they have to do is outbid that last person. The clock will never run out without giving them a chance to bid if they want, and they can make that decision.
You want certainty instead of a maybe. I think it's what we provide. We provide certainty. When we market our properties, the bidders are going to show up, and you're absolutely going to have participation in an auction.
Absolutely. Well, to close, the auction method isn't the right strategy for every property or every seller, but when the timing matters, competition is strong, and you want a clear, transparent sale, it can be one of the most powerful ways to sell real estate.
I believe in it 100%.
You and me both, brother. If you are listening to this or watching it on YouTube, you have any questions, feel free to reach out to Kyle or myself. Our contact info is in the show notes of this episode. You can also look on the website, readytobid.com. Our cell phone numbers are on there. You're welcome to call or text us at any time. Thank you for joining us today on the Ready to Bid podcast, and we look forward to seeing you next time.